Hello, everyone. It's Adam here from Revive Your Hair. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming Matthew onto the channel. Matthew works at Scruffy Hair Co. You might have seen a lot of their products on my content recently. They're the only supplier of Pro Hair Labs Walker Tape that I trust. I use them myself. They're the official UK distributor of Pro Hair Labs and Walker Tape. So, really excited to have you on today, Matthew. We're going to be talking about basically how to tell the difference between counterfeit products and legitimate products in terms of Pro Hair Labs or Walker Tape. There's been a lot of discussion about this in the community. So, I think it'd be really helpful for people to get an understanding on how they can decipher what's real and what's fake.
Totally. So I am not here today to shame anyone for not understanding the difference in counterfeit and non-counterfeit products until I started working with Scruffy. I actually didn't know that the issue was quite as bad as it is. There was a study done recently that 67% of all of the cosmetics bought online, so that's things like makeup, deodorant, shower gel, any sort of personal care product, 67% of those bought online are counterfeit.
It really is quite astonishing, isn't it?
It's
It really
it is mind blowing. And I
yeah.
think a lot of people trust the really big name online marketplaces because they're such a recognized brand.
Mhm.
And in fact,
Absolutely.
that can be such a big issue because the counterfeiters can piggyback off genuine listings
Mhm.
and bump themselves further up in the recommendations. And no one at a glance really knows the difference because quite often they're using photographs of authentic products ripped from the original manufacturer's websites.
Yeah, yeah. And I think as well when you look at big companies like Amazon, eBay, a trusted brand, and when people are going through those platforms, they're like,
Very
well,
much.
it must be real because it's being sold by Amazon or through Amazon.
Yeah, yeah. Now they are pretty good on removing counterfeit listings, but the counterfeiters and the people who are supplying counterfeit products, that is their job.
Yeah.
So the way you or I have our 9 to 5 day jobs,
Mhm.
their 9 to 5 day job is creating listings for the counterfeit products that they have bought.
Right, right. That's terrifying. When you think
Yeah,
about it, it really is.
absolutely petrifying. It's constant. So we do sell on Amazon. We have our own account manager with them. We're in pretty regular contact. Haven't counterfeit listings removed, but for every one that we have removed, another three pop up.
Yeah, yeah, that's the problem. And that actually brings me on to, my first question, which is, what are the most common red flags that tell someone a hair system accessory or supply
Yeah.
might be counterfeit?
So tip number one that I always recommend to our customers who contact us at the office, check what else is on their store.
Sure.
If the store seems to be pretty niche and dedicated to things like removers or adhesives or tapes, there's a stronger possibility that that person is going to know what they're buying in. If there's a C22, a bottle of GhostBond, some cling film, some kitchen roll, 400 toilet rolls, that's probably someone who's buying bulk stock and doesn't necessarily know what they're buying, but they're chasing online marketplaces key sellers.
Right.
So they recognize the name of GhostBond, they recognize the name of something like C22, and they just buy 1,000 units of whatever from whoever they're buying their supplies from, and they
Right.
don't know. So that would be issue number one. Issue number two to look out for would be the packaging when it arrives.
Right.
So there are things on the packaging. Obviously, we can't discuss all of them because some of them for the manufacturers are proprietary so that we're able to find out whether something's genuine or not. But
Sure.
things for the customers to look for, particularly with the Ghost Bond products, um, the font is thing number one. On a genuine Ghost Bond product, which
Hmm.
you should be able to see here, the font on the logo should always
Hmm.
be in capitals.
Right. So the font on the logo, guys, should always be
Always.
in capitals. Always.
Now they have in the last couple of years rebranded some of their packaging and made a couple of edits. So there sometimes still are on some online marketplaces from genuine products, authentic products that have an old logo or an old label. That's nothing to worry about. If you are worried, you can always contact us or with the GhostBond products in particular. When they're bought
Ah,
online, they'll
yeah,
all come
like
with
a
a QR
QR
code.
code. Yeah, I've actually got one right here. Well, I've got two, and they've both got the QR
Perfect.
codes right there.
So every single one of those is genuine and authentic and original to that box.
Right, right.
Every single one that comes into our office or is sent out by us to one of the online marketplaces has a unique QR code.
Right. So if someone orders, let's say, GhostBond XL, and it's got this QR code on it, I'll just put that in front of the camera. Are they able to scan that, or do they scan the code in? There's a code beneath it, I think.
So yes, they can scan it.
Okay.
However, they'll need to use an app called Clarity Code or Clarity
Right.
Checker.
Okay.
It's available on the App Store and on the Android
I'll make sure
Play
as
Store.
well. I'll make sure as well for the viewers that I will put the link for that app in the description box beneath this video because
Brilliant.
that could be a real game changer if you want to make
Very
sure you're
much
getting the
so.
real thing.
Very much. Now, with some of the other product lines that we carry, it's not quite as easy to spot the counterfeits.
Right.
And that would then be when I'd recommend starting to buy from authorized resellers.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you mean, for instance, potentially Walker tape? Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah, I'm in very regular contact with the team at Walker and at the team at Pro Hair Labs who make Ghost Bond. Both of them are always working on new innovations. I know that Walker are working really, really hard in the background to make sure that moving forward it's not an issue, and they do understand that it has been an issue historically.
right. Right.
But I'd say maybe once a week, I'm
Yeah.
in contact with them with listings of counterfeit products.
Right. That is quite a lot, isn't it? It just
Yeah.
sort of it just underlines and it shows the extent. And you were mentioning percentages earlier, 60 to 70% of products that you're getting online aren't what they say they are. They're not from the
Yeah.
actual
Yeah.
manufacturer, which is terrifying. And even though there has been a lot of talk about this in the hair system community, there really needs to be more talk about it because this is a massive issue, and a lot of companies who are basically making the fake product are profiting from this without actually
Totally.
providing you with the real thing.
But the my main concern with a counterfeit product isn't that it's not doing its job or it's not going to be strong enough. In fact, the opposite is often true.
So it's almost like it's too strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite often, if it's something like a water-based white glue like Ghost Bond or Great White from Walker, quite a lot of the time that'll be a like a wood glue kind of base.
Right.
Quite a lot of the time they can have carcinogens in them like lead,
Yep. Terrifying.
lead, lead in a cosmetic. But all of those things cause so many problems for the skin. Quite a lot of the my system isn't holding. I have this skin problem. I have had this issue.
Yeah.
Quite often is because someone somewhere along the journey of that person wearing their system
Yeah.
has used a product that they didn't know what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether
And
that's a professional or it's
yeah, just
the customer at
an
home.
ordinary hair system wearer. And
Yeah.
a little anecdotal story about lead for anyone who's like, oh, it can't be that bad. In the 1600s, Queen Elizabeth I, I'm going off on a random tangent, but trust me,
I
this is
already
going to
know
go
where
full
this story is
circle.
going, and I'm
And she
delighted.
lost so much hair because she used lead makeup. So it's really not good to have lead on your skin.
Awful.
It's very
Awful.
toxic. It's very, very toxic. So please, guys, do take that on board. The second question I've got for you, Matthew, is would you be able to walk us through, a real world example you've seen where someone's ended up with a fake product and what that taught them to look out for next time?
Yes, I can. So we get contacted here at Scruffy quite regularly by
Mhm.
people who don't buy from us. I think whenever they are Googling or online searching for the brands that we carry, they see that we have a massive range, automatically assume that we are the experts. We had a customer who contacted us a few weeks ago who had actually ended up with chemical burns.
That's bad.
And obviously, for a person who lives with hair loss, the option of removing this thing isn't really an option. If you're choosing to wear a system or a wig or a topper or whatever it is you choose to wear, you don't want to take that off.
No, no, no.
So this particular customer had pretty severe chemical burns and has since started purchasing all of the products from us.
Yeah, yeah,
But basically with the gray area of being able to prove authenticity at a glance on other online marketplaces, key takeaway for that particular customer was not to use them.
yeah, yeah. Just because it's cheaper doesn't mean it's the real thing
And
as
you know,
well, you know?
that's the thing too. It wasn't cheaper.
Really?
Quite a lot of the time, this is sort of how they end up boosting themselves in the rankings. So if, for example, a GhostBond XL at 14.95,
Hmm.
they can list one at 14.94.
Yeah, yeah,
If you drop that then went to 14.93, they'll drop to 14.92. So if someone has filtered by best price, it's always going to be the top search result.
yeah,
The top search result generally is the one that we trust first.
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. Um, quick couple of questions on
Yeah,
that particular experience for that gentleman. Firstly, what was the actual product? Was it Ghost Bond?
yeah. It's a
It was
counterfeit
Ghost Bond.
GhostBond.
See, this is really important to know because a majority of people who wear poly systems, a majority of them use Ghost Bond.
Hmm.
So the thought of, risking getting chemical burns, which would mean you'd have to take off the system as well for a period
Yeah,
of time to let your skin
yeah.
heal as well. So, really a risk not worth taking. So on to my third question. From a more innovative standpoint, are there any new technologies that people can use to confirm authenticity of what they're buying? We have briefly discussed the QR code on top
Yeah.
of that. Is there anything else that
So
people can look out for?
as it stands,
Mhm.
not just yet.
Right.
It is something that we're working on integrating into our own web platform, but
Sure.
to have all of the different brands all speaking the same language
Right.
is kind of difficult and they use different systems to do different things. So we are working on having that built in
Sure.
on our own website. But short of that, send us an email.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're not
Absolutely.
sure, send the
Absolutely.
link. If you've bought something, send some photos of the product. We will be able to authenticate that for you.
Sure, sure. And I'll make sure that I put your guys' email, customer service email, into the description as
Yeah,
well, so
great.
that people who have these concerns can reach out to you. So my next question is, how do counterfeit accessories typically impact the performance or lifespan of a hair system? And what should
Right.
users realistically expect if they accidentally buy a knockoff product?
So sometimes it won't affect anything at all. And that quite often is where the confusion comes in. Sometimes a customer has been wearing the same counterfeit glue for 6 months, gets another one from the same manufacturer, and that has come from a different place. So a sudden change in how it feels, how it smells, the texture of the adhesive when you're applying it,
Yeah,
any sort of inconsistency that wasn't like that before, for me would be a bit of a red flag. In
right.
terms of the performance of these things, again, that will vary on person to person. Some people will be able to use them and get 3, 4 weeks of constant wear, just like they would with an authentic product.
Yeah,
Other people will have things like chemical burns, skin lesions, sore, weeping areas, overproduction of oil, which all of those things are going to break down the bond and make that feel faster.
yeah, yeah,
In terms of damage that these things can do to the actual hair system itself, not quite so much damage like shedding or breaking or any of those things. I, in that case, would be much more concerned about the damage that it could do to the skin.
yeah, yeah,
The health of the skin is going to be the thing that means you get the longest, most comfortable wear possible from whatever method you choose to secure your hair system.
Yeah, totally. And something I picked up on that you said there, which is so, so, so important and really worth being mindful of, guys, is if you've been using a supplier and you've been using them for 5, 6 months, no problems, and then you get your new bottle and you start getting a skin reaction, that is a massive red flag that you need to be fully aware of because that shows the product itself, the real product, hasn't changed. The formula hasn't changed.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is so, so important to be mindful of. And, when I look at it in hindsight, I've been a system wearer for 7 years now. And the number of times I've been fine with Ghost Bond and then I order a new bottle and I get redness on my scalp for no apparent reason. I tolerated the product before, the formula hadn't changed. I've been duped. I've been duped. I've been ordering off cheap suppliers that weren't affiliated in any way with Pro Hair Labs or Walker Tape. That's when you know. If you just get a reaction out of nowhere, that is the biggest red flag.
Very much so.
Yeah. So I'd also like to ask, if someone does sort of suspect they've bought a counterfeit item,
Yeah.
you mentioned that they can reach out to you guys at Scruffy Hair Co. Is
Yeah.
there anything else that they should sort of be mindful as a way to sort of address this issue to make sure they don't run into it again? Is it worth them reporting the vendor potentially that they bought it
Absolutely.
from?
If they're uncomfortable reporting to the marketplace, they can always provide the information to us
Okay,
and we can handle that on their behalf.
great, great. Well,
My
that's really good to
tip
know.
number one, though, before any reporting, any sort of issues trying to have a listing taken down, stop using it
Yeah, yeah.
immediately.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to mention again something that you mentioned earlier in the call, which was just because you might see an old branded version of Ghost Bond, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's fake. Is that correct?
Yeah. So knowing the sort of numbers that we send to the online marketplaces, and then knowing how the warehouses for the online marketplaces are set up, quite a lot of the time stock can go missing
Hmm.
and then turn up 6 months later.
Right.
So it's not uncommon for something to have changed in the 6 month period between your restocks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in that space of time, a logo might have changed, a QR code might have changed, the
Yeah.
way that something's packaged might have changed slightly.
Right. Right.
But if it is something that you're particularly worried about, by all means, feel free to give us an email.
Sure, sure. No, I think that's really, really important. And, just because, let's just using, because this is, real Ghost Bond and this is XL and we've got the glow up here as well. Just because it may not look exactly like this, if I get that into the camera, doesn't mean it's not it doesn't mean it's not real effectively. And I'd encourage anyone who has those concerns to reach out to the guys at Scruffy Hair Co, either to Matthew or one of his colleagues. I think it's super, super important because the more people do this, the higher chance they do they're going to get the real thing and they're not going to have skin irritation or all of this kind of stuff. It's super, super, super important. Also to look out for this QR code if you are. This
Yeah,
is only with Pro Hair Labs. Unfortunately, with Walker Tape, we don't have that right now. But as you mentioned, you guys are working with them to hopefully sort of get them on board with this so that people can start getting the real
I
thing.
think if anything, I've been nothing but a thorn in their side about it personally.
Now keep going. It's really
But
important. It's
but
really
it's
important.
so important, and I think when decisions are being made by people who design packaging rather than use products,
Hmm.
I think there can sometimes be a bit of a disconnect between what someone thinks looks really good
Yeah.
and what somebody thinks an end user actually needs to see.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And before we wrap up, I think it's really important to mention this as well because I've been getting so many questions, given it's been a hot summer in the UK, so many questions about UV protective leave-in
Yeah,
conditioner. Right now, I use Scruffy Hair Co's own brand of UV leave-in conditioner. It's hands down my favorite so far. There might actually be one behind you, Matthew, potentially. Yeah, it might be in the middle
sure, a
somewhere.
couple of them, in
There you
fact.
go. So that's what it looks like, and I have been directing people towards this particular product because it is the best. Some of these UV ones are just too thick. This has got wonderful consistency. It's nice and light, smells really nice, and it protects against the sun. I've been using it for about a month now, and I've had zero discoloration whatsoever. And I haven't been wearing a hat. I've just been going outside in the sunshine. So I highly recommend that. And also, they are offering 10% off all of their products if you use the discount code Revive10 at the checkout. So you get 10% off, and that's a reusable discount code as well, guys. So I'd really encourage you to head over to their website. All of the information is going to be in the description box below. And there's a special link that you can use as well to click on their website. Yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add, Matthew?
I would. I'd like to add that code Revive10 also gets free shipping.
Ah, yes, of course it does. Of course it does. So you get free shipping if you use that code. You need to make sure you use the code, guys. It's going to save you money on a product or several products, and you'll get free shipping. So please don't forget to use that discount code. Matthew, thank you so much for jumping on. I think people are going to find this so useful. And it's great as well that you guys are open to just being like, send us an email. We'll check for you guys to see if this is real or not. Remember, guys, that Scruffy Hair Co are the official distributor of Pro Hair Labs and Walker Tape products. So they are the absolute best people to make sure that your product is correct. I always use them now. I wouldn't go with anyone else, especially after being duped for years with effectively fake products. So thank you so much, Matthew. Is there any sort of social media handles that you'd like to mention so
Of
people can
course.
give you guys a follow as well?
So we can be found on TikTok
Yep.
at the Scruffy Hair Co. As far as we know, we're the only people on TikTok shop selling authentic GhostBond and Walker tape, as far as we can tell.
Great, great. Well, that's good to
Uh,
know. And also
we're
for guys who are on TikTok, you can access my TikTok shop, and that has all of Scruffy Hair Co's products. It's got Ghost Bond, it's got Walker tapes, it's even got some of their own line, some of their own brand stuff. So we've got the leave-in conditioner, which I absolutely love, and the shampoo and conditioner, and which I've recently been using as well. Also, if you're on TikTok and you follow Ghost Bond UK, they are now Scruffy Hair Co. Just in case you get
yes,
confused.
yes. Long story, but we used to have one website and now it's another.
Right. And you're on Instagram as well, aren't you?
Yeah, we're at the Scruffy Hair Co underscore
Perfect, perfect.
on there.
And I'll add all of that information as well into the description box. So please, guys, give
Great.
them a follow. Make sure you use that discount code. It will get you 10% off products and free shipping. Thank you so much for jumping on this call, Matthew. I think people really appreciate it and, found it very useful and insightful.
Thank you for having me. I love getting to chat to people about how to find the best authentic products for them.
Absolutely. And, I always love talking to professionals in the industry who have a much better knowledge of these kind of things than me. So thank you so much for jumping on.
You're very welcome.